Good morning, everyone. How we doing? This is Mark the Moose Sauger with Golf Course Rescue, bringing you another version of a little bit what's underneath the dirt. I'm standing here on the 6-hole par 5 at Pelican Bay Golf Course here in North Naples, and we're on a little bit of work that we did yesterday afternoon of changing a little bit of the tee box for Bob, the head superintendent. I'm going to pan a little bit over here on the right. We can see this beautiful oak tree. The cart path currently goes around the right side of it, but because some vegetation that was right here, as Monty Python liked to say, some shrubbery, of course, we needed to remove that because we're standing on what is going to be called the members tee. It's one of the tees that's used predominantly by most of the play here. So we had to adjust the cart path a little bit, of course, with Bob's approval, in order to bring it closer to the tee box. That way it's a lot of a shorter walk for the members and everything. So as I pan up a little bit up in front, we have a machine right there that's used to haul mix and everything, but right up here in front, you can see a couple of piles of dirt right there. That's going to be on the front of what's going to be the next yellow or red senior tee. That's going to get a lot of use up there, so that's going to have pretty good size to it. And then if you can see the sun's coming up down there by the tree up there, we're going to be putting in another green tee, which is kind of a senior tee. I'm going to walk back here to the back of the tee. We kind of reshaped it yesterday, and we have not adjusted the height of the tee yet. And the reason why I'm going to explain that is, in golf course construction, probably one of the most expensive things, other than irrigation and everything, when it comes to earthwork, is when you have to move dirt. Primarily, you want to shape it right exactly where it's at. And then that falls onto someone like myself, someone that's an expert, a connoisseur of the dirt, if you will, to know your elevations. And as long as you have fall to water, even if you're only a foot above water table, or excuse me, 2 feet, if you're able to lower it a foot in some places, you can raise it another foot. So as long as you have a little bit of fall, you're able to create, or what we call generate dirt, okay? Now on the back of this tee, I'll get into the generating the dirt in just 1 second. We've made this more of a straight tee where it's kind of straight down the line. It was kind of a banana tee. The adjustment that we made by taking the cart path through changed the shape of the tee. So what we did is we readjusted the outside, okay, and readjusted the shape of the tee, and we kind of straightened it on out. Now that we have the shape of the tee, okay, so it's all supported by the slopes and everything so everybody can walk up on top, then we'll adjust the elevation of the tee. And that's very important because once you have the shape, as long as the architect, or in this case the superintendent, is happy with the shape of the tee, then you can adjust the elevation. And what I mean by doing that is if you lower the elevation even 6 inches, 6 inches to up to a foot, it depends, that allows you to generate more dirt right where it's at, and it will increase the size of the tee. And then you get your tee space of what you need. So it's important to get your shape first, and then you can adjust the elevation. Because as people play golf, they have no idea what the height of the tee is. As long as the height of the tee is there for the architect, or in this case the superintendent, what he's looking for, you can always adjust the elevation. Now, generating dirt, excuse me, as I turn around, the main reason why we shaped this tee, the specific, the sides of it and everything, is because we only have a limited amount of dirt, and we have to put in a pro tee. And as I pan around again, we have the halfway house right there, and in the back, that is where the pro tee is going to be. There's a large pile of dirt right there. Okay, now that is all the dirt that I was able to generate off of the sides of this tee, and by moving the cart path to bisect right through the back of this tee, we have that dirt all piled up. Now, what we're going to do this morning is we're going to build that back tee, because that grade determines everything. We want that back tee to sit ideally like 6 inches, just a little bit above the tee in which I'm standing. So once we shape that tee, and then we have the size of it which we need, because that determines everything, then we can jump back up to this tee and adjust the size of this one. And then if I'm pretty close on that, I still need to widen this one. Hopefully I'm at least a foot taller than this one right here. That it gives me the ability to, you know, even if I'm at the same height, I'll be okay, because then I can lower the tee I'm standing on 6 inches, and then I'll get the size that I need. Now that explains quite a bit of the dirt and how we shape it and everything, but I'm wearing another hat today other than my straw hat. That's because it's early in the morning, and because I have to wear many hats. And the hat that I'm wearing today is going to explain a little bit about the dirt that you're looking at behind you. We're in Florida down here, so it's quite a bit of a mixture of dirt. We have some sandy topsoil mixed with a few other, stuff that's underneath before we get to the lime rock and the coral. But the sand that's up on top, for you folks that are in northern climates, you don't quite understand how southern grasses in Bermuda works, is those grasses, okay, they predominantly grow in mainly sand. That's why when you come down to Florida or anywhere in the south, you're playing on Bermuda, you never replace your divot. You always fill it up with sand because it grows more aggressively in that. So as you look behind that pile of dirt, it's a mixture of sand and the topsoils and stuff. That's what makes it a little bit more difficult when I show these videos and these pictures, and in order to see a finished product, because it's a discolorization in the soil. Now, don't think there's anything wrong with the soil. It's actually great for the turf that's going to be grown on this. We like to mix this on in because some of the other material, and if I pan back around up front up there, you can see some of the material that was put out to the front right there, the tee box. That's more of a reddish type of dirt that has more acidity in it, and I talked with the superintendent yesterday afternoon. It's a little bit tougher to grow grass in that type of soil, so that's why we try to mix it in as much as possible, because they're going to be sprigging right on top of this and sodding in other places. So, but the reason why the sand is there, getting back to that again, is because that is what provides what we call porosity in the soil. And what porosity means is air movement. Same with your tomato plants, turf grass, any type of plant, you want to have deep roots. The deeper the roots, okay, the more solid, the more healthier the plant is going to be. So in a sandier soil, that's when you're going to have healthier plants. So that's why we have you know, a little bit more sand here. That's why in job sites that have a little bit more clay, they have a little bit more work to do in order to get their roots deep. But on the same hand, they don't have to water as much. So it's a give and take type of situation. And that a little bit kind of scratches on the surface of why in golf course construction they spend thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars on building greens construction, is because they're trying to control the porosity in the soil artificially. And years ago they didn't have all that, so that's why they built it predominantly out of sand greens or push-up greens. You can still get away with this, it just gives a little bit more control of when you're building the green to spend the money that way, but that doesn't mean you do it. So, but anyway, we're going to look at this tee box right here again. It's not a tee box. We're going to come back to you a little bit later and show you the finished product, and then we can stand on the back of the tee. But as I pan back around and take a look, this is the view from right here looking back. And I don't know if you guys are afraid of heights, but I'm going to go on up here and see what it looks like up on top. Now, when you pile up dirt for a tee box, as I'm walking on up here, the most important thing with the height is the slope, because it doesn't matter how high you go, you got to be able to get up onto it. Not just the people walking up to it, the billy goats that want to play golf, they got to be able to mow and maintain it. And that's crucial for the superintendents or anybody. So we got a big pile of dirt here, but sitting up in the back, got a couple of those are sea grape trees. Excuse me, Bob wanted to save those. So we got to watch the toe of the slope, and we do have a lot of room, so we can put a nice slope on there. But again, everything right here is going to be determined by the height of this tee and what we can get at it. I'll pan right back on up here. Be a nice look down the hall. This is a before. This is a big mound of dirt with a tee. It looks like before, and we're going to give it to you after. So once again, this is Mark the Moose Sauger giving you a little golf course rescue here in North Naples. Hope to see you here on the link soon. We're going to take you from dirt to grass real soon.